Shalom. I'm Rabbi David, and today we need to talk about prayer, specifically praying for money. I'm going to say something that might shock you, that might even offend you, but it is one of the deepest truths in Kabbalah and the secret to unlocking true abundance. If you are praying to God for money, you are doing it wrong. In fact, you are likely pushing wealth away from you, not attracting it. Have you ever prayed for money? For a bill to be paid? For a job to come through? For a financial miracle? And felt like your prayers went unanswered? Have you ever felt like God wasn't listening? Because what I'm about to share will completely transform how you understand prayer, abundance, and your relationship with divine provision. We're on a mission to reach 50,000 subscribers, and every single subscriber matters. The more people who discover these ancient money secrets, the more lives we can transform, the more families that break free from poverty thinking, the more generational wealth that gets built. So hit that subscribe button right now, turn on notifications, and if you want to go deeper, become a channel member for exclusive content, early access to every video, and inner circle teachings reserved for those who are truly committed. The link is right below this video. From a young age, we're taught to ask God for what we need. It seems logical. It seems righteous. If you need money, you should pray for money. If you need healing, you should pray for healing. If you need a job, you should pray for a job. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding of how God, the universe, and the flow of abundance actually work. And this misunderstanding is a spiritual barrier that keeps millions of good, faithful people in a state of perpetual lack. The problem is not with God. God is not withholding. God is not punishing you. God is not playing favorites. The problem is with the prayer. More specifically, the problem is with the consciousness from which you are praying. Let me explain using a core Kabbalistic concept. The Kabbalah teaches that God, the Creator, is a force of endless, unconditional giving. The Hebrew term is Ein Sof, which means without end. Think of the sun. Does the sun decide who to shine on? Does it give more light to the rich and less to the poor? Does it shine on the righteous and withhold from the wicked? No. It shines constantly on everyone without condition, without judgment. This is the nature of God's abundance. The Shefa. It is always flowing, always available, 100% of the time. God never stops giving, ever, not for a second. So if you are not receiving, it is not because God is withholding. It is because you are blocking the flow. You are the problem, not God. And the primary way we block the flow of abundance is by praying from a consciousness of lack. When you pray, God, please give me money. I'm so broke. I need to pay my bills. I don't know what I'm going to do. What are you actually doing? You are focusing your entire consciousness on the problem. You are marinating your soul in the energy of lack. You are declaring to the universe, I am empty. I am lacking. I do not have. I am poor. And according to the spiritual law of affinity, like attracts like. You will only attract more of what you are. If you are a being of lack, you will attract more lack. If you vibrate at the frequency of poverty, you will create more poverty. You are in effect creating a spiritual shell, a klippah in Kabbalistic terms, around yourself that prevents the light of God's abundance from getting in. Think of it like a radio. The radio station of abundance is always broadcasting. It never stops. The signal is always there. But if your receiver is tuned to the frequency of scarcity FM, you will never hear the music of abundance. Praying from lack is like turning up the volume on the wrong station. It only makes the static of scarcity louder. It reinforces the very thing you're trying to escape. So if you shouldn't pray for money, what should you do? The answer is radical, and it will change your life if you truly understand it and apply it. You don't pray for what you want. You pray from what you want. You don't pray for money. You pray from a state of wealth. You don't pray for abundance. You pray from a consciousness of abundance. You don't pray to become something. You pray as if you already are that something. But Rabbi, you say, that's insane. I'm broke. I have $47 in my bank account. I have debt collectors calling me. How can I pray from a state of wealth when my reality is lack? This is the great test of faith. This is the work. It requires you to shift your consciousness first before your reality is changed. It requires you to align with the truth of God's infinite abundance, not the illusion of your temporary circumstances. It requires you to see with spiritual eyes, not physical eyes. Hebrews 11:1 says, "Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. This is not just a nice religious saying. This is a spiritual technology. Faith is substance. It is evidence. It is real. But it exists in the spiritual realm before it manifests in the physical realm. When you pray from a state of wealth, you are creating the spiritual substance of wealth. You are generating the evidence in the unseen realm, and the physical world, which is just a shadow of the spiritual world, must eventually conform to it. Let me give you the 3 shifts you must make in your prayer life. The 3 secrets that will tune your receiver to the frequency of abundance. Shift number 1. From begging to gratitude. Stop begging God for what you don't have. Start thanking God for what you do have. Gratitude is the antidote to the poison of lack. It is the fastest way to shift your consciousness from scarcity to abundance. When you are grateful, you are acknowledging the abundance that is already present in your life. And what you appreciate, appreciates. What you focus on expands. What you give thanks for multiplies. Instead of saying, "God, I need $1,000 for rent," start saying, "God, thank you for the roof over my head. Thank you for the food in my fridge. Thank you for the health in my body. Thank you for the love of my family. Thank you for the job I have, even if it's not my dream job. Thank you for the opportunities that are coming my way." Even if you have only $1 to your name, you can say, "Thank you, God, for this dollar." It is a seed of infinite abundance. It is proof that you provide. It is evidence of your faithfulness. Gratitude is not about denying your problems. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about changing your focus. It's about aligning with the truth that even in your darkest moments, you are surrounded by blessings. When you start your prayer with gratitude, you are immediately tuning into the frequency of abundance. You are opening the vessel to receive more. The Talmud teaches, "Who is rich? He who is satisfied with his portion." Satisfaction, contentment, gratitude. These are the consciousness of wealth. You can have $1 million and be poor in consciousness. You can have $100 and be wealthy in consciousness. And your consciousness determines your reality. I had a client. Let's call him Daniel. He lost his job and was unemployed for 6 months. He was praying every day, multiple times a day, begging God for a job. "Please, God, I need a job. My savings are running out. I have a family to feed. Please, please, please." Nothing was happening. He was getting more and more desperate, more and more anxious. His prayers were becoming more frantic, more fearful. I told him, "Daniel, stop praying for a job. For the next 30 days, I want you to only pray with gratitude. Thank God for your skills. Thank God for your past experience. Thank God for the opportunities that are on their way to you. Thank God for the perfect job that is already prepared for you. Thank God for the lessons you're learning in this season. Thank God for the faith you're building." He thought I was crazy. "Rabbi, I need a job, not a gratitude journal." But he was desperate, so he tried it. He told me the first week was incredibly difficult. He felt like a liar. He felt like he was pretending. But he persisted. By the second week, his energy started to shift. He felt less desperate, more confident. He started sleeping better. His anxiety decreased. By the third week, he started getting calls for interviews. In the fourth week, he was offered 2 jobs, one of which was better than the job he had lost with a 20% pay increase. He didn't change his resume. He didn't suddenly gain new skills. He changed his consciousness. He stopped praying from lack and started praying from gratitude. And the universe responded. Shift number 2. From asking to declaring. Most prayers are requests. "God, please give me this. God, I need that." This is the prayer of a beggar, and beggars don't become wealthy. Instead, you need to start praying with declarations. Declarations of faith, declarations of truth, declarations of your identity as a child of the King. Instead of "God, please give me money," you say, "I am a child of the King of the universe. I am an heir to infinite abundance. Money flows to me easily and effortlessly because I am aligned with the source of all wealth." Instead of "God, I hope you bless me," you say, "I am blessed. I am highly favored. I am surrounded by the goodness of God. Everywhere I go, I prosper." This is not arrogance. This is alignment. You are not declaring your own power. You are declaring God's power working through you. You are not claiming to be God. You are claiming your identity as God's image bearer, God's representative, God's partner in creation. Mark 11:24 says, Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Notice the tense. Not you will receive it, but you have received it. Present tense. It's already done in the spiritual realm. Your job is to believe it, declare it, and act from that place of having already received. I remember when I was building my first business and was about $80,000 in debt. I was terrified. I was praying every night, God, please help me get out of this debt. Please send me clients. Please don't let me fail. My rabbi at the time told me, David, you're praying like a victim. You're praying like a man who is drowning. Stop asking God to save you. Start declaring that you are already saved. Start declaring that you are a successful businessman, that clients are drawn to you, that you are a magnet for wealth. It felt ridiculous at first, but I did it. Every morning I would stand in front of the mirror and declare, I am a successful entrepreneur. I create value. I serve my clients excellently. Money flows to me easily. I am debt-free. I am prosperous. Within 18 months, I had paid off all the debt and the business was generating 6 figures in profit. The declaration changed my consciousness. My consciousness changed my actions. My actions changed my results. Shift number 3, from passive to active. The final shift is this. Stop praying and then sitting on the couch waiting for money to fall from the sky. Prayer is not a substitute for action. It's a catalyst for action. It's an alignment tool that prepares you to receive what God is sending. James 2:17 says, faith without works is dead. You can pray all you want, but if you're not taking action, you're wasting your breath. After you pray from gratitude, after you declare your identity as a child of abundance, you must then ask, what is my next step? What action can I take today to move towards the wealth I'm declaring? Maybe it's updating your resume. Maybe it's reaching out to a potential client. Maybe it's learning a new skill. Maybe it's cutting an unnecessary expense. Maybe it's starting that side business you've been thinking about for years. Prayer aligns your consciousness. Action aligns your reality. You need both. The Talmud teaches, if there is no flour, there is no Torah. Meaning, if you don't have your basic needs met, you can't study spiritual wisdom. But the reverse is also true. If there is no Torah, there is no flour. If you don't have spiritual alignment, you won't have material provision. You need both spirit and action, faith and works, prayer and hustle. So here's your action plan for the next 30 days. Day 1 to 10, gratitude only. Every time you pray, start with 5 minutes of pure gratitude. Thank God for everything you can think of. Don't ask for anything, just give thanks. This retrains your brain to see abundance instead of lack. Day 11 to 20, add declarations. After your gratitude, spend 3 minutes declaring your identity and your future as if it's already done. I am prosperous. I am debt-free. I am a magnet for wealth. Money flows to me easily. Day 21 to 30, add action. After gratitude and declarations, ask God, what is my next step? Then listen. And when you get the answer, take action immediately. Don't hesitate. Don't second guess. Move. By the end of 30 days, your consciousness will have shifted. And when your consciousness shifts, your reality must follow. This is the secret to praying for money. You don't pray for it. You pray from it. You align your consciousness with the truth of God's infinite abundance. And then you act from that place of alignment. God is not withholding. You are. Remove the blockage. Shift your consciousness and watch the floodgates of heaven open. Let me share one more profound Kabbalistic secret that will blow your mind. It's called the principle of Ratzo Vashav, running and returning. It's found in the vision of Ezekiel where the angels are described as running and returning like the appearance of lightning. This principle teaches that spiritual energy moves in 2 directions. Outward, Ratzo, running, and inward, Shav, returning. You give and you receive. You breathe out and you breathe in. You plant and you harvest. It's a cycle, a rhythm, a dance. Most people only do half of the cycle. They only want to receive. They only want to breathe in. They only want to harvest. But you can't breathe in forever. Eventually you suffocate. You must breathe out to create space for the next breath in. The same is true with money. If you only want to receive, you block the flow. You must also give. You must run out before you can return in. This is why the Torah commands maser, tithing. You give 10% of your income back to God, to charity. to the community. Not because God needs your money, but because you need to give. Giving creates space. Giving opens the vessel. Giving aligns you with the nature of God, who is a giver. The Talmud says, "Give tithes so that you may become rich." This is not a bribe. This is not a transaction. This is a spiritual law. When you give from a place of faith, trusting that God will provide, you are declaring, "I am not operating from scarcity. I am operating from abundance. I have more than enough. I can afford to give." And that consciousness of abundance attracts more abundance. I had a student, a single mother named Rachel, who was barely making ends meet. She was working 2 jobs and still struggling to pay rent. I told her about Maser, about tithing 10% of her income. She looked at me like I was insane. "Rabbi, I can barely pay my bills. You want me to give away 10% of my income? That's crazy." I said, "Rachel, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you this is a spiritual law. Test it. Try it for 3 months. Give 10% of your income, even if it's just $50 a month, and watch what happens." She was skeptical, but she trusted me. She started giving. The first month, nothing changed. The second month, she got a small raise at one of her jobs. The third month, she was offered a better-paying position at a different company. Within 6 months, her income had increased by 40%. She was no longer struggling. She was thriving. She told me, "Rabbi, it doesn't make sense mathematically. I'm giving away 10%, but I have more money than I did before. How is that possible?" I said, "It's not about math. It's about consciousness. When you give, you're declaring that you trust God. You're declaring that you're not operating from fear. You're opening the vessel to receive more. This is the Ratzo Vashav principle. You run out, give, and you return in, receive. You can't have one without the other. Now let me address one final objection. Some of you are thinking, "Rabbi, this all sounds great, but I've tried positive thinking. I've tried affirmations. I've tried gratitude journals, and I'm still broke. What am I doing wrong?" Here's the truth. It's not enough to just think positive thoughts or say nice words. You must align your entire being, your thoughts, your words, your emotions, and your actions with the consciousness of abundance. Let me give you a diagnostic. Ask yourself these questions. 1. What do I think about money when I'm alone? Do I worry? Do I stress? Do I feel anxious? If so, you're operating from scarcity consciousness, no matter what you're saying in your prayers. 2. What do I say about money to others? Do I complain about bills? Do I say I can't afford it? Do I talk about how hard things are? If so, you're reinforcing scarcity with your words. 3. How do I feel when I see someone else succeed financially? Do I feel jealous? Do I feel resentful? Do I think, why them and not me? If so, you're operating from a scarcity mindset that believes there's not enough to go around. 4. What actions am I taking? Am I investing in myself? Am I learning new skills? Am I building assets? Or am I just working a job and hoping things will magically change? If you're not taking action, your prayers are empty. True transformation requires alignment at every level. Thoughts, words, emotions, and actions, all pointing in the same direction. Abundance. Let me tell you about my own journey. When I was 35 years old, I was making decent money as an accountant, but I felt stuck. I was praying for financial breakthrough, but nothing was happening. I was frustrated. I felt like God wasn't listening. Then I had a conversation with my mentor, a rabbi who had built significant wealth. He asked me, "David, what are you praying for?" I said, "I'm praying for God to bless me financially. I'm praying for more income. I'm praying for opportunities." He said, "That's your problem. You're praying like a beggar. You're praying from lack. You need to pray like a king. You need to pray from abundance." I didn't understand at first, but he explained it to me using the same principles I'm teaching you today. He taught me about gratitude, about declarations, about giving, about action. I started applying these principles. I stopped begging and started thanking. I stopped asking and started declaring. I started giving 10% of my income even though it felt scary. I started taking massive action, building a side business, investing in real estate, learning new skills. Within 3 years, my income had multiplied tenfold. I went from making a comfortable living to building genuine wealth. And it all started with changing how I prayed. I stopped praying for money and started praying from a consciousness of abundance. This is the secret. This is the key. This is what the Kabbalah has been teaching for thousands of years. God is not withholding from you. You are blocking the flow with your consciousness of lack. Change your consciousness, change your prayer, change your life. Shalom. And may you be blessed with the wisdom to pray from abundance, the faith to give generously, and the courage to act boldly on what God reveals to you.